On the surface, it just seems like he's walking around going,
"Oh man, I eat liver, I eat balls, testicles."
Time into the board a-hole here, and you can't go outside at the moment without hearing about the Liver King. Now, very sadly, this is not a new enemy from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that would get me very excited, and is in fact this man. Real name Brian Johnson, and no, he's not related to the guy from AC/DC. Can you imagine he was the universe we would be living in? And as the name suggests, he is obsessed with eating liver. But actually, when you get into it more specifically, he is obsessed with living like an old guy. Now, the first thing that anybody asks when we do start focusing on the Liver King, the TLK, is whether or not he is taking that magic sauce, whether or not he's taking the magic juice.
Do you think if I was on steroids, I would have these f***ing appendages down here, these legs?
Have legs?
Do you see how f***ing little my legs are? You know,
they're pretty.
Oh, pretty big? Okay, well, let me f***ing go on here. If you don't believe this is possible, then I suggest that you take that self-limiting belief, you put that shit in a fucking box, and you bury that next to all your embarrassing shit, and don't open your f***ing mouth about it. Let that live with you.
Now, my opinion on this is always going to be, don't even worry about it, because whether he is or whether he's not, regardless whether you do or whether you don't, you're never going to look like him. So a good rule of thumb is just to presume that everybody is doing something, and you're never going to look that way, and then you won't ruin yourself and you won't make yourself want to cry to sleep, which is not the way of life. You shouldn't be doing it. However, if he has got like that naturally, then he actually does have the greatest genetics in the world, and we should be taking his DNA and sucking it into other people, which again doesn't make any sense. But when you actually get more into his training and more into the things that he preaches, well, I actually found it quite fascinating, because again, on the surface, it just seems like he's walking around going,
"Oh man, I eat liver, I eat balls, testicles."
which he does do. I absolutely love it, but there's more beneath the blanket. Because he basically has a group of ideals that he thinks that you should adapt yourself towards in order to not only become better in the gym and to become bigger and blah, 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 but also to become a better person. It all ties into sort of primal instincts and going back to our ancestors. He likes talking about ancestors a lot. And he also does funny training things like this.
I'm doing an upper body dynamic effort today, and you can see I'm using a Swiss bar. If you do the same thing every day, over and over, you will cease to adapt and you will cease to make new progress.
Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly what you're going to get from that. I think a bar is more than fine. And while your body does adapt and try to keep up, again, I just think you're risking injury, and you never want to do that in any walk of life. However, let's go through each of his pillars and I'll explain them to you. Now, the first is sleep, and that makes perfect sense, right? He's saying you should sleep because, of course, when you get sleep, much like we did way back in the day, you're going to feel better, your body's going to operate better, your brain is going to work better, and you're going to be happier in your tum-tum. And I like the fact that this was his first pillar. I truly did. Because if you are getting whatever optimal sleep you do need, it could be 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, maybe you need 12 hours, I don't know. You could be a sloth. Everything is just going to feel better. And in terms of health and fitness and going to the gym and the fitness palace of love, yes, you're 100% going to see better gains. You can't argue that one, which is why it's always a tick box when it does come up in anything like this. If your sleep is absolutely awesome and you are recovering every single day, you're going to get bigger, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get more ripped, you are going to achieve your goals quicker. Now, it doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to turn into the Liver King. I'm going to keep saying that because it's important. But in your own battle with getting a massive bicep, you're going to be doing much better. Which moves on to number 2, which is eat. And again, I can agree with that. No matter what you're trying to do, build muscle or lose fat, it is going to come down to your diet, because never forget, you can't out-train a bad one. You just can't. You may think you're doing enough cardio and that you're allowed to eat 72 pizzas, but trust me, nobody on this planet Earth, not even the Liver King, although he's never said anything like that, is able to create that balance, right? You got to have a good diet.
Liver King here. Welcome back to another Saturday dinner. Here's what we're having. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we're having liver. You got about 3 or 4 ounces of liver. We got our bone marrow, so we got a fresh piece of femur. We're just gonna scoop that marrow out, just like as per the usual. We got Liver King concoction. We're having a couple of patties today. Just maybe a scoop or 2 of guac. And we did tons of earning it, so we're gonna eat all of those. These are all for me. All these patties are for me. Some of you guys think I don't eat all this food. I eat every single patty. I eat every single fry, and I will prove it to you. Get down here and let me show you. I will prove this to you. Liver King out.
So I have some stuff written down here. He obviously eats livers. Makes perfect sense. Imagine he didn't. You'd be like, well, you're a massive liar. He eats bull testicles, as already mentioned. And he likes raw milk. He's way into raw milk. Now, I'm not 100% of the deal when it comes to raw milk. And the only reason in the past when I've ever said I don't agree with the milk diet is because people they think, oh, I'm going to bulk up on milk. And sure, there is a way to do it if you want. I don't personally agree with it. But they don't just have 1 glass of milk or 12 glasses of milk. They have 97 glasses of milk, and they can't understand why they're bloated. And they can't understand why they're putting on bad weight. And he also likes to go and eat stuff like liver ice cream. Now, the reason he says that he does this is because it's going back to when we focused on nutrients. And that's why people used to eat. And these days we've moved away to processed food. And I do think there is something in that. But I also like the fact that we have evolved ever since then. Because if you told me right now, Simon, livers, bull testicles, raw milk, liver ice cream, this is what you have to eat in order to get jacked, I would go, you know what? I think I'd just be an average guy. Thanks very much. I appreciate you coming because I don't want to do it. Now, are there some things every now and then you're going to have to eat because they know they're beneficial for you? Absolutely. But should you put yourself in a position where you're actively hating what you're doing in pursuit of having like a good wide lat spread? No, I don't think you should. And again, I think there's plenty of stuff out there. We'll use Liver King genetics that he could eat that would be comparable to this that you and I would enjoy more. But look, I've seen the guy. I've watched a lot of his videos. He seems like a very happy chap. And if he's happy and he's enjoying what he's doing, then who the hell are we to say otherwise? Number 3 on this list is moving. Again, this ties into doing your cardio and ties into doing your weights. I'll make sure I put one of his workouts on the screen right now. And he's big into this every minute on the minute training. Now, I'm not 100% sure how his works. It sounded different to me, but again, I'm not 100% sure. But usually on the minute, every minute is, let's say you are doing a set of 12 reps on the bench, right? You've got 60 seconds to do it. You do those reps, bam, bam, bam. You check it. And if you've got 15 seconds left with that 16 seconds, then you've got 15 seconds to rest before you do your other set. However, he says you should do bench press 8x3, bent over row 8x5, dumbbell Arnold press 4x10, pull up 4x10. But he also says at the bottom, obviously this is a back and chest day, he also says at the bottom, do 1 minute rest of each one. So maybe there's something missing here. Again, I think it's the EMOM. Fitness regime. I'm not 100% familiar with it, so I could be wrong. But if we do break it down, I mean, it's all simple stuff. You do your bench press, you're working your chest, you're doing your bent over row, you've got your back, you've got your dumbbell Arnold press, you're going to be working your shoulders, and you've got your pull-up, which is going to be working your back. So you're basically doing an upper body routine, especially because then you change it up and you do these giant sets, you take 2 minutes rest, and you do dumbbell flies 3x10, dumbbell incline curls 3x10, and dumbbell tape press 3x10. Again, you have those rest for 2 minutes. And then he has these sort of like easy, medium, and hard things as finishers that I suppose are like a video game. And the one that I saw on this one is you do a row and you base it on how many calories you can burn, and then you do a bunch of hand release push-ups. So, I mean, once more, he's trying to tie it into how we would be training back in, I don't know, year dot, whatever the hell it would be. And I suppose if you are kind of bored with what you are doing in the gym, maybe this would work for you. I mean, ultimately, as long as you're stimulating your muscles, as long as you're training hard enough, it's going to promote muscle growth. I mean, how much is going to depend on, your own lifestyle. But again, you can see on the screen now, it's not the craziest thing ever. It's not like he's saying, I don't know, get a spear and chase down a deer. Then you'd be like, that's a stupid way to do cardio. Jump on a treadmill. So I kind of feel like with the Liver King, what he did was, and maybe he does like enjoy it as well, but he realized he had a USP, or at least he could sell this as a USP, and now he's become a massive celebrity of it. We also have Shield, where he talks about trying not to let, once again, the modern world take over you. Now, one of the things he told you to avoid was excessive Wi-Fi. Now, this made me laugh because he uploads videos all the time, and he is an internet sensation. I do understand what he's trying to say, though, and I bet you there's a video out there where he laughs about that as well. There's the best thing I read on his website and all the videos I watched. Watch out for excessive Wi-Fi, okay? Also wants you to connect. That's another one too. And that's basically, walking around on the ground with bare feet and trying to, remind yourself where you're from and you're of the land and all this kind of stuff. I'm sure we've all done this. If you want to call it hippie trippy stuff, you can, but there is something in that. Like, it doesn't really tie into health and fitness, but it probably does tie into your mental health, actually. I truly do believe that if you do suffer from anxiety or you do get very apprehensive, that having some moments where you just try and normalize everything, and you do try and feel the earth under your feet, and you rub your toes into the mud and all that stuff, it can help some people. I've seen it. It's not particularly for me, but I certainly don't look down on it. And I think if that is the way you find peace in this crazy thing called life, you should do it. And if Liver King is the guy that gets you to do it, then good for him. He also mentions cold and sun, and we'll do those two ones together because obviously, cold, he talks about getting to lower temperatures. It's going to help with inflammation. It's going to help you recover quicker. And with sun, it was basically the way to say you should take a vitamin D supplement because most people are deficient in vitamin D. And yeah, he's right. is true. One of my favorite ones was Fight, and I've got a few written down here. He basically wants you to challenge yourself. And some of his examples are you brush teeth with the other hand, you sit in a different way, and you don't exist on autopilot. So maybe I'm doing some autopilot right stuff right now, but if I start smashing myself in the head, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've woken up all these sensations. So once again, that's a cool thing to do every now and then. Whether or not it's going to help you in your day-to-day life, I don't know. It's probably going to be annoying. And when someone looks at your teeth and says, they're not very clean anymore, you're like, yeah, I've been trying to clean them with my left hand. Maybe you should just focus on cleaning your teeth. And the last one is Bond, which I actually thought was very, very good. You know, making sure you have that relationship with friends and family, etc., etc. But when you do go through all of his stuff, like, it's so easy to see the headlines and go, oh man, that's such a gimmick. It's so stupid. And again, to a certain point, it is. And there's every chance, like, he's, hocked up on everything. As you've seen in the video earlier, he says that he's not, but we can continue the debate as much as we do want. But in terms of his principles and in terms of what he's putting out there, I think he's a very inspirational and I think he's a very motivational chap. Of course, we have this weird, blurry part of the whole thing because you don't want people to think, oh, I'm doing all this stuff that Liver King is doing, but I don't look like him. Why not? It's going to screw you up. I know it is mentally, but that is why you only focus on you. Like, take all the positives, take everything that he's selling, take everything that you believe works for you, put it into your own life, and just make sure that you are getting better and you are comparatively improved to where you are last week. It doesn't have to be anything major. That can be, oh my gosh, I did 10 reps on the bench press last week. Now I did 10 and a half. That's fine. It's 0.5 more. But given that the sort of opinion of him I'd been given by just random people on the internet was that he was, well, a lot of people just thought, oh man, you know, he's one of those people. I don't think so at all. He seems like a very chirpy chap. He's done very well for himself, which I find inspirational. And when you actually watch some of his videos, as long as you can understand what he's saying, because there's a lot back in the day, the old people came and stole our souls. You're like, oh, come on, I don't know what's going on. But when you do get past that, and again, I do like the presentation, yes, I think there's something to this. And I certainly don't think you should be eating liver unless you really like liver. You can have a chicken breast, you can have some tuna, you can have a protein shake. I know it's terrible, terrible new man-made contraptions. I think it works pretty well. So I would say, yes, you probably should listen to Liver King and you should check him stuff out. But as always, you should find a bunch of people you like and just take little bits, because that is the best way to build your bodybuilding program. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Get the bell ding ding so other videos are going live. There will be another video on the screen. Please do give it a click. Also, leave a comment below. Say whatever you want. Give me your opinions on Liver King. I'd love to know them. Also, GorillaMind.com/Simon. These are supplement companies that I'm affiliated with. And if you use the code Simon, you get 10% off. And if you follow me on Instagram, specifically at Simon316, you will see when all the sales going live, and you can get even more money off. Same with Twitter at Simon316. Also, Greg Dissent's Power 13 cookbook, Patreon.com/Simon316, where our Jim Fells videos are currently housed. Officially back on Cameo, Simon.BigCartel.com for merch. I believe that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to the Liver King. I thought his content was very entertaining. Goodbye.